APTN recently reported the organization issued contracts to a business based out of a home owned by the National Chief and his spouse in Ottawa. Here to discuss this is the reporter behind that exclusive story, Brett Forrester.
Hello, thanks for having me on.
We always love having you on, Brett. Fountain of information. So, you've been kept busy in recent months with a lot of turmoil at AFN. We know a lot of grassroots people pay absolutely no attention to anything that the AFN is up to. They've just disengaged for a long time. We've been mulling the many reasons for that. But for those people who have disengaged that might be watching now because they want to know what the conversation is going forward, can you give us a little bit of a rundown on some of the troubles AFN has been going through recently?
I certainly can, and I'll try to keep it brief. I think the best
you need your
place,
own show for this, the whole hour.
Would be to start at the beginning of this particular round of troubles. This would be in December 2020 during the annual General Assembly of the AFN Chiefs. The delegates were debating a resolution about whether or not to conduct an independent investigative review into gender and sexual orientation-based harassment at the AFN. And the tension or the turmoil at the executive level seeped into public during this debate as the Ontario Regional Chief, Roseanne Archibald, accused National Chief Perry Bellegarde of obstructing passage of this motion. At the time, the Chiefs were trying to kind of water down the language, dull its edge a little bit. But after Archibald called out Bellegarde, they reverted and they decided to pass the motion without any amendments. So that's investigation 1. Investigation 2 happened in February, so fast forward a few months. The Chiefs of Ontario, keeping up with this push for transparency and accountability, passed a resolution calling for an independent review of financial matters at the AFN, whether it's contract or conflicts of interest and other things like that. So that's investigation 2. Now let's go forward to investigation 3. As APTN broke the story of this resolution, the AFN announced it would be proceeding with a full investigation into harassment allegations that were lodged against Regional Chief Roseanne Archibald. And so that was almost at the same time. So that's investigation 3. And a little while after that, they announced that they were opening yet another investigation into allegations of a data breach within the AFN executive. And now shortly after that, the Chiefs voted down a motion to implement the COO resolution. So now we're back to 3 investigations. And then it was after that that APTN broke the story about the contracts that were awarded to a company operated out of the home of the National Chief.
So you've been slightly busy in the past couple of months, and I love that you just so succinctly pulled that all in for people who haven't been following it necessarily. We don't have a whole lot of time left, but I did want to ask you. You're going to be covering this election this summer. What do you expect will be what do you expect to see? We'll just leave it wide open.
I'll be looking for 3 things. I'll be looking to see if this tension starts to seep again into the public. It's important not to miss the forest for the trees. These power struggles are happening over the future direction of the AFN and what its mandate is going to be in the future. So that's the first thing I'm looking for. The second thing I'll be looking for is what that mandate looks like when a new national chief is in fact declared. Is it going to be a push for transparency, accountability, and internal change? There's a lot of solutions out there, a lot of suggestions about ways the AFN can reform itself and make itself more democratic and make itself more accountable to First Nations people. As the previous guest noted, the AFN is not a government. It acts like a government. It looks like a government. It draws on First Nations governance systems, but it's not a government. And that's an important thing to note. So I'll be watching for the mandate.
All I want to know, Brett, is how much was that contract awarded to Perry Bellegarde's house?
We don't have time. We don't have time. We're 30 minutes to black here, so I'm going to have to shut you down.